We are ready to go racing. The cars are at the end of the formation lap. The 24 Hours of Le Mans Virtual 2023 is just moments away. Porsche locked out the front row, but already Team Redline looking to try and take the advantage. We see this so often. Not the greatest getaway from the front row of the grid. And let's see if either of the Redline cars can take the lead into the first turn. The GT cars follow across the line. Again, it's the 888 Ferrari on pole position and the BMW's behind. Key here is Redline car number 1. It looks like Max Verstappen taking the lead very quickly. Now, Max has been doing a lot of rehearsal, a lot of test racing, a lot of practice. He has tried and not had great success during the season, but it looks as though he is absolutely determined to deal with this race the same way that he does in Grand Prix racing and take the bulls by the horn right from the run down to the first corner. Porsche curves, turning into the first element of the Porsche curves.
No, it was earlier in the lap. That was going for the S's.
Oh, was it?
And that's really unfortunate contact because it's only a light kiss on the wall, but just the angle is not that rear wing off.
So they've had to do pretty much a whole lap.
Are they also now going to do what Porsche always do at Le Mans, which is find another lap on fuel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they struggled a little bit when it came to the fuel mileage in the GTE category last year when they were battling with Team Redline, who managed to get them on over. And I think that would have bitten them a little bit hard, as they would have been determined to meet that fuel mileage. They struggled a little bit in the first round of the LMPs, but they were just finding their feet back in Bahrain. It was incredible.
Whoever thinks of things like that? I'll just go and borrow a mate's. And then obviously spent time
preparing,
setting that spare rig up for him as well. Let's take a look at Max's spin in the second of our chicanes.
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's a glitch as well, isn't it?
You could see he had a little bit of a screen freeze there.
Yeah.
And then as it's come back, we'll see it's very clearly from on board. Bang gets held. And as soon as it does it, it kind of, whatever input you had in, the only way to do it is if you actually hold your input at the exact point that it freezes. But how? Project One. Sorry, that's P1 Esports. P1 Esports.
Sorry, it is P1 Esports. Well, let's take a look at the replay. This is down into the Indianapolis. That's the right-hand section. Oh goodness! Got on the inside and a big impact, and there is the spare wheel mounted on the roof, Safari Rally style. Ooh.
Let's see what happened to the 20. Of course, our race leaders, Josh Rogers, they've lost about 6 seconds. Too much curb going through the final chicane, the final of the 4 chicanes, and that's what sent Josh Rogers round. Has been perfect. Has that team for an hour and 40 minutes, but it only takes 1 minute for you to have a severe issue. Thankfully, getting away with it there.
That's Mexico? Was that Mexico facing the wrong way?
Looked like Mexico Racing Team, didn't it?
Not a good place to park. So let's have a look at who this is. It is Mexico Racing Team, who have backed off the throttle to not make contact with the GTE car. Actually, have done a great job there to stay out of the way. Serious upgrade on the shed that we're so used to seeing him in over.
I thought you were going to say the hair. But
well, yes, the hair too. We've got Mexico Racing Team that they're catching as well. And it's quite narrow along towards Indianapolis. This is very much a 2-lane road. And yes, there is now tarmac on the outsides of the road, but it's just, it feels so claustrophobic when you're down there.
Oh, here we go. That's going to be a brave move round the outside. And there we can see Yuri Toman ticks off Josh Skelton there. What a fantastic move, but Skelton might have a go back into Arnage. Thinks the better of it.
If that was a sprint race, he would have fired it down the inside.
Yes.
Another attempt further back on the... Is that the Le Mans Virtual Cup car?
It is. Is this red? Side by side they are. That's the 86, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's GR getting past, having to really lean on the Le Mans Virtual Cup car to get through.
Yeah. We ride on board with Felix Rosenqvist looking back at Josh Skelton though, and there you can see as Alex Brundle. Whoa! There we go. Felix Rosenqvist gets one wheel on the gravel, lights it up, and spins it round coming on to the straight. And what I was about to say is what Alex Brundle was talking us through, how you really have to attack the curbs. And you can see just too much speed carried through that time, dropped a wheel onto the gravel, and as soon as he hit the throttle, that was goodbye. He sent it round.
So we move into the 4th hour then. 5 o'clock was the time we were told we might see some rain, so we have to keep on board and have a look at the spots appearing on the windscreens. It won't be very easy to see from the outside cameras if there is rain, but it will be certainly obvious on the inside cameras. Remember, we're simulating June, so sunset isn't until about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. First is the team, and Romain Grosjean there having a chat with his son there, just in the top right-hand corner. I think Romain must be out of the car now. There doesn't seem to be too much going on. But obviously, no, he is still driving. He is still driving, blimey. Shows how much capacity he has to do other things. I didn't think he was looking at the screen for about half a lap there. Down the main, into the first corner. Oh, he's got an issue.
Oh,
wow.
Oh.
So, wow. Hello.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. I can't tell you what happened there. He obviously had some kind of...
I'm about to get sick, I think.
...technical issue. Don't look. Keep your eyes closed, Chris. How does, for those that don't know about sim racing, how does weather work? Is Jimmy Allison literally sitting there with like a volume knob going, more rain, less rain, less rain, more rain?
He wishes. He absolutely wishes. No, you know, so when you load into a sort of, if you were creating a server yourself, or even going into single player in rFactor 2, you will be able to create like blocks of weather. It is typically done in 5 bits, so you've got 0% of the race, which is the start of the race, 25% through, 50% through, 75% through, and then 100% through what's at the end of the race. And then it will go, right, okay, so we can make weather like that.
And we can go racing once more. Led away by Coanda number 20, that's led the race since lap 8, but followed incredibly closely now by the number 1 machine. And they all fan out. Progress needs to be made from the Mercedes in 3rd position, but the number 1 machine is right under the tail of the 20, and much like what happened at the start of the race, 1 putting huge pressure on number 20, loses the rear end going into the first chicane, keeps it all gathered together. It's very, very close further back. Hopefully everyone is nice and clean. The right-hand side is a very nice and clean start from the Coanda Proton cars, line astern. 3 wide further back. Brabham's big dive down the inside of the Le Mans Virtual Cup car. That has worked for him. It's going to be a big one.
Going to happen. Oh, and it's both of the Floyd Vanwall cars. The next to you, Alpine, that's Rory McDuff involved in it. That did not need to happen. It was 3 wide going up to the Porsche curves.
And once more, rejoining in the order in which they were. Nobody loses laps, nobody gains laps. Of course, as with any red flag, whatever gaps were between the cars in terms of seconds or minutes, they're all compressed down to fractions of car lengths. So it is the number 20 Porsche Coanda LMP car that leads the field. Josh Rogers at the wheel, Jeffrey Rietveld for Team Redline, car number 1, the car that led early on. Bonneville for AMG Team Petronas, the 63 car. And then Fordzilla, 4th place. Again, can't state often enough early in the race what a great now first third of the race the Fordzilla car has had, because we are 7.5 hours in and 16.5 hours to go as we get ready to, are we going to go green this time around? Not hearing Eduardo Freitas, he is in the room just behind us. And here we go, sounds like we go green here. We do go green flag racing. It is 4:29, I beg your pardon, 16 hours and 29 minutes of the race remaining, 21:30 Central European time as we get back underway. LMPs and GTs, and of course, when we came off the last red flag, the whole field was compressed and we did have a lot of high-speed pack racing incidents. Let's hope there are slightly fewer of those this time round.
Unlike the beginning of the race, Coanda able to keep the lead as they head out onto the Mulsanne straight. We'll update you on the drivers in these cars as they cycle through, but the Coanda number 20, the pole-sitting car, leads the way then down towards the first chicane, but will Redline have something to say about it on this restart? 3rd, 4th, 5th battle there, covered by the proverbial pocket handkerchief. And Colin Sport was hovering there. Now, this is a replay of Andy Prio's moment with a yellow nose. That is a disconnect. So he has
he basically, in his sim, has suddenly lost any motion in the picture, and he's trying to like now hang on to it as he waits for the picture to start moving again.
Yeah, can't park there, sir.
Yep. Change for the lead.
Change for the lead,
yeah,
indeed.
So again, we've seen the pace from the BMWs over the course of the season, predominantly from the Redline 71 car. And BS competition actually, over the 2 years of Le Mans Series virtual racing, have not been the most fortunate. Change for the lead there and a change back. See, at the last sector, Jeffrey Rietveld had got his nose in front of Mitchell de Jong. Mitchell taking the brave side-by-side line into the chicane, but Rietveld is attacking again, and here comes Georgi Dimitrov for Team Fordzilla. And it's Dimitrov that's made the difference to this, because he has allowed Rietveld to tow up behind the Porsche, and Fordzilla are right there waiting to pick off second place. Does he get his nose in? He doesn't. Rietveld takes the lead. And it's now side-by-side for fourth as well, because Bonahus is there with the MGT Petronas car. So we got two-way battles effectively for the lead. One tiny miscalculation from any of these cars could actually cause a lot of carnage. Look at Rietveld go. He was being held up by the Porsche, and look, side-by-side, here is the second Porsche, and is that the Yassi? Yeah, it is, up the inside, I think. So Porsche Coanda and, is that it's
the Williams car.
Yeah, it is the Williams car, you're right. So Williams Esports, Jack Keithley and Matt Backham in the Porsche, dicing for a place in the top 10. So the Williams Esports car has it. No, it's not. That is that's Isaac Gillison in the Yassi Veloce car. No, so that is the Yassi car. And then you've got the Porsche there as well. More Porsche action. This is Project One on Red Bull. So this is fourth. Scrolls down the screen, third. No further back than that.
Fifth and sixth.
Fifth and sixth.
Project One trying to make a move on the Red Bull car.
Have made a move, and they are right up behind the Aston Martin as well. So, and look at the move here from Alex Smolyar for third place. That red, white and blue Ferrari goes by the Porsche. He's ahead of Alex Tauscher. So it's now Ibrahim Khan who leads for BS competition. The BMW is just 8/10 ahead of Loic Hartog in the 77 Proton competition Porsche. Alex Smolyar up to third, and Alex Tauscher about to fall into the clutches of Project One, Oracle Red Bull, BMW Team Redline, SF Sport, D-Station, Sim Maranello, and all other comers, because Uncle Tom Cobley and all is in the queue there as well. This GTE battle, look, I mean, just look at them. It's insane numbers of cars all trying to occupy the same same bit of real estate.
This is what we're going to see what happened to Proton.
Yeah, so the 88, just that little bit of contact with the LMP2 car. He's caught the wall on the exit of Arnage, and there is that contact, and there'll be damage for both cars there, surely.
Very easily done, isn't it, out of there, coming through Arnage, just to get on the power too much, is it? And that's what drifts you into that wall. Because
a battle for second, rather, it is. That's 20 versus 1. Porsche Coanda number 20 around the outside. Mitchell de Jong, big move. And these two, Alex, have been hugely entertaining. But that early stop by Fordzilla has put Fordzilla's Georgi Dimitrov into the lead. So this is 4 seconds back.
And Brabham there making a move themselves on Axel, who continue to drop down the order. As you said, maybe trying a different strategy. Whoa, side by side for the lead. That is Porsche and Redline to the left-hand side of our screen there, trying to get down the inside in towards Indianapolis. Redline being brave, trying to go around the outside, but that was great driving from the Porsche team. And somehow, Alex, they've managed to hold on to the lead, and now they have a queue of GT cars ahead, including the other Redline car.
Coanda versus This is Redline, Juven versus Rietveld, and you've got a young Porsche Junior against a Simulator Pro up the inside, and that's fantastic management of traffic. Redline's almost come together behind the GT car on the way into the Porsche curves. Brilliant evasive action, but it's let Juven off the hook big time at the front of the field.
Yeah, that was satellite racing. We saw there minding their own business, and next thing they were swamped with LMP cars either side of them.
Redline car, and they've kept a relative stability, pairing him alongside Bonito in that 71 car. They've kept Lorenzo Colombo and Kevin Siggy alongside him, so looks to be a pretty strong, but he spun it, Van Buren, on the first apex. Thanks for pointing, Chris pointing frantically at the screen while I list his accolades. Well, we've all been off there.
Well, there we go, an ambitious move round the outside, and that saw the BMW Redline car facing the wrong way. It's now over 20 seconds, so they need to make this move ASAP.
To the left-hand side, but a little bit earlier on the brakes. No chance there. It's very, very fast on the entry into the second chicane. It'll be much safer to do it into the Mulsanne corner at the end of the Mulsanne straight. Just going to the right-hand side of the Mulsanne roundabout, if you do know the circuit as a normal road. Traffic to contend with. That puts the cars on the right-hand side. That's more of a defensive racing line. There, but it's very, very late from Heinrich, but he wiggles his way through, and a little bit of oversteer on the exit for Drugovich means that Heinrich has done it, but it's a half a lap sitting behind the Redline car, and that will have damaged his pace on this particular lap. Ooh.
Peugeot and Marla coming together. Looked like it might have been. It's kind of hard to tell from there as to whether it was a bit late. This is on board with the Peugeot going around the outside. This is always quite risky. The Marla has committed to its line at that point, and if you're going around the outside in the LMP, you're almost asking for that car to understeer into you. There's not really much more that Marla car can do, and also I'm not necessarily sure if Veyron was all the way over to the left-hand side. So unfortunately, I might lamp that one a little bit more on the LMP.
The recovery is on, but he's 40 seconds back from Luke Browning.
It's going to be, if there's going to be an immediate move from Lulham into the Porsche curves, the Porsche Coanda is going to defend on its way up there. Lulham's going to go one way, near contact between the two, but surely Lulham's not going to try and hang around the outside, but of course he is. Why would he? Why would you do that? They've both gone off the road, trying to go side by side. I am baffled as to why you would even try that. Whilst we approach 3 o'clock in the morning UK time, I think there's no better time.
Biggles on the chat has just insulted you massively, Lewis. Calling you crofty.
Yeah, Dean Hopton.
There is no worse insult to any commentator, Biggles, than being called crofty.
But see, there are people out there that will be like, Crofty's my favourite commentator. We'll talk about this race just a sec, because the 777s have to deal with the 88.
Yeah, there's
just a touch. There is a race going on.
That's not even for position, no?
I believe it is. The 777, it is Vite behind Brian Collins.
Wow.
Of course,
the 8 is making a comeback then.
Those were the very posh sleepy boxes that Alan McNish had a few years ago. No, I mean, not all of them. He had one of them for his overnight stint, his overnight kit while we were in the caravans.
He didn't have the in-speed tents. I hope no one wants to come into the pit lane soon. If I were race control, I'd be on that. I hope they... Eduardo will probably be on the blower a little bit to the
see,
teams.
that's good. He's even cutting across the grass to be out of the way of somebody coming into the pit lane, and also to save himself a couple of meters.
Here we go. Oh, this is going to get dangerous. That's Arnage coming into the pit lane. Now, again, Mark Vite reads that one brilliantly, pulls over to one side.
Well, one of his teammates or an engineer, and it will be an engineer at D Station. What is that car? What is that pale blue car?
Oh yeah,
because there's actually another one parked up at Arnage. That's really bugging me now.
I think they're just basic cars in game.
I know, but they must have modelled it on something.
Please
Anyway.
get into his box. This is honestly, this is the most tense that I've felt.
Who
in
was
the
it?
last
One of the
14
Redline
hours.
cars, we were told, came across the line at the end of qualifying with 0.4 of a litre left in the tank.
Yeah, Rietveld.
Because they'd,
Trying to not damage the tyre
Yep.
as you're getting it up to speed. It's cruel in many ways that the most dangerous moment from a stint in terms of damaging the car, in terms of damaging the tyre, in terms of using too much fuel, is always that first 1 or 2 laps out of the pits, because it's when the car is heaviest and does its most damage to the tyre as a result. So you go straight in and potentially cause yourself an issue.
Matto Homola sends it up the inside. So he did exactly as he said on the outlap. He didn't fight it. He brought the tyre in. And then the moment he felt it under him, straight back in front of the GR car.
Into the first couple of corners, going to give the GR an opportunity on Skelton. There's no real way around the outside of the Forest S's, or is there? Actually, yeah, there is. Look, the 101 round the outside of the Forest S's. Lovely move, a little bit of assistance there from the car ahead, it must be said. Sensible racing from both. In the pit lane again, unfortunately, and they've been suffering connection issues with that car. And it seems to be that Max Verstappen is struggling with whatever technical issue that they are having with him, with that car again. It was the issue that dropped them away from the lead.
Someone who's won this race, only 3.5 seconds behind him as well, Nikodem Rizhnevsky, who won back in 2020. So that's going to be, if there's anything that's going to give you the hurry up and keep you on your toes, I imagine as someone, you know, you've been in this race several times, is it almost better when you've got that bit of pressure behind, just to keep you going? Either you've got pressure behind or someone to chase.
No, you're quite correct. Probably more. Whoa, bit of contact then for the car that we were on board with. Is that the Alpine?
It is.
That's the 37 though.
Yes.
That's Victor Martins. We were on board with in the 37 Alpine.
That was
I believe.
Was that?
And he's
RG,
gone straight to the pit lane.
Hovered around 8th place for
it's
2 hours.
Whoa, so close to being turned into the wall. I think it was, as he went through, and just the lightest bit of contact on the right rear, and that was almost the end of this car. Desperate to try and stay on the lead lap. You can see Felipe Drugovich in that leading car just up the road, having passed him, and they're going to come into the pit lane together, the two. They are 254 laps up, so they're basically the whole final sector behind the top 3, but still somewhat in the hunt. We're following on with James Baldwin, GT driver, world fastest gamer, 2022 Autosport Esports driver of the year. He's on board in the bottom right-hand corner. He's in person in the top right-hand corner, and he's off board on the main screen, and he's sideways in turn 1.
Fantastic analysis, all through one corner.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, Chris.
And this is the Brabham car going side by side with Fordzilla. This is the battle for 9th place. Fordzilla trying to make a move here on the Brabham car. They're side by side, or defend, I might say, and the Brabham car is now P9. And we return to racing, and with it a replay. This is Sim Maranello versus Project One, and oh dear, well, that is not how you go side by side through that chicane. And Sim Maranello
effectively be the lead driver. You're the one with the most experience. You're the one that's done the 2 Le Mans virtuals. You're the one, you know, in that 37. That's a lot of pressure to put on your shoulders when you move over. I think they've dealt with it very, very well. And obviously in your wild card, you've got no pressure in the sense of where you are in the standings. It's just about this one race. But sometimes that less pressure, if you think about it too much, can become more pressure somehow. Oh, Chan, Juven, slippy slide. He's pushing. These tyres are definitely knackered.
Yeah, 2 seconds down on Leo Boulet already, so losing lots and lots of time. Boulet in the 24.7 that last time. Guven a 25.7, so 1 second lost in that lap. Doing a similar pace to Chris Lulham at the head of the field. 34 seconds is the gap. Is it GR Esports having a crash again? Oh, yes, it is. I feel as though the replay guys either have a vendetta against GR Esports or they're the only people that keep crashing out on track. We've seen so many instances for the 101 and the 86.
Oh no, Fordzilla, the engine's popped. Who's behind the wheel of that? It's Georgi Dimitrov. That engine, that car's out. That car is done.
Okay, you're going to have to explain to those that don't understand how you can blow an engine.
I don't understand, because I would assume typically you do it on the run into Mulsanne corner by downshifting too aggressively, but they do have an engine wear rate that you can effectively wear the engine so much that the engine will let go. You see it in real life. The engines can let go in real life. This is what's happened to Fordzilla. Obviously, a lot of smoke pouring out of the back, and sadly, painfully, with nearly 22 hours complete.
Williams and Alpine Esports. This is the battle for the final podium spot in Le Mans 24 Hours Virtual, and traffic may be a part of it. Down into the S's. Is that the 888 Ferrari in front? No, it's not.
51.
Yeah.
I will say for Wisniewski. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! As we cut away back up towards Indianapolis, let's see if Felipe can get through. He switched him off.
The Ferrari made contact with the back of the Alpine, and they are hard into the barriers, and fourth place may be under threat.
Yeah, that was. Oh yeah, it's very broken. This could be a big moment for Sasha Lehmann, for the Alpine Esports team. It could be heartbreak. You got to ask the question: was it worth it?
You have to go for it. It's the last lap of Le Mans. You have to go for it.
Not at Tetrus.
You have to go for it.
Not at Tetrus. There's no braking.
He had to get by the traffic. He got tagged from behind by the Ferrari because he ducked in too close. The Ferrari couldn't slow down enough. We are out of time. The checkered flag awaits. Team Redline, car number 2. They didn't make it onto the front row of the grid. They make it onto the top step of the podium, and there is the delight in the young man who takes victory in the Le Mans 24 Hours Virtual for 2023. The number 2 car takes the checkered flag. And we are waiting for Josh Rogers and Porsche Coanda, number 20. There is Josh Rogers, makes cucumbers look hot. That is a man who perhaps would have preferred to be on the top step of the podium, but has added the Le Mans Series virtual title to 2 Porsche Esports Super Cup titles that he's won in GT racing over the last 3 seasons. We transfer our attention now to the GTE class. Kevin Siggy has crossed the checkered flag in 2nd. Bruno Spengler has taken the flag in 3rd. They're both in BMWs for Team Redline, who are now champions, and for BS Competition, who finished 3rd here at Le Mans. But for Timotej Andonovski, doing the final stint for R8G, the car that started on pole wins the race. No drama in between. Car number 2, Team Redline, the overall victors here at Le Mans, ahead of the number 20 car from Porsche Coanda, and AMG Team Williams Esports, somehow having strung out the longest fuel stint in the field to hang on to that 3rd spot under really severe attack from Alpine. Still a great race from the 36 team. NG Team Petronas in 5th. And the 23 Porsche Coanda rounds out the top half dozen ahead of car number 4 from Floyd Van Wall. Real disappointment, perhaps, in the LMP field. The retirement of the number 1 car there, disconnection issues, and also the engine failure for Fordzilla, car number 966. They had such a great race from really not the most promising qualifying. They just absolutely hit it out of the park. No wonder they were gutted with that mechanical failure. Well, there are the rest of the teams. Pescarolo didn't get classified, nor did Redline or Fordzilla. Rocket Sim Sport were out early, sort of reappeared as a ghost apparition for a few laps and disappeared again. And connection issues put paid to our Le Mans Virtual Cup crew as well. In the GTE category, victory went to the pole sitters. R8G, the 888 Ferrari, just had enough to stay out of the clutches of the BMWs. 2nd, more than enough for Team Redline, whose game plan was just not to get into trouble and try and defend their overall title lead. They take the championship, but victory eludes them here at Le Mans. BS competition, a fine third place, and then a couple of Porsches from Project One and Coanda's surviving Proton car ahead of the next clutch of Ferraris from Sim Maranello and Simsa. Satellite Racing, they've got to be pretty happy, I would reckon, with that 8th place finish ahead of Mahler's BMW. And Oracle Red Bull, well, it wasn't their season and this wasn't their race. They finished just ahead of InSpeed, the Chinese team, really coming up and striking well here at Le Mans. ProDrive Firer led the race at one stage and then suffered misfortune. There was an issue as well technically for the D Station team that took them out of the middle of the lead group, the middle of the top 10, and dropped them down towards the bottom of the top 15. So let's look at our title standings then. The overall LMP team's title goes to the number 20 car from Porsche Coanda. Team Redline, the number 1 car in second, and just 5 points behind them, victorious at Le Mans, is the number 2 car. Number 4 from Floyd Van Walburst finishes 4th in the standings, ahead of the AMG Williams and Petronas squads. 23 Porsche Coanda in 7th place behind them, and R8G's car number 8 in 8th. Alpine with a great run to 4th place, move up into the top 10, and Brabham, 8th place in the race here at Le Mans, move themselves up to 11th in the season standings, definitely batting above their average here. Really nice race for the Aussie-funded based team. So that is how our LMP teams finished up at the end of the season. And the GTE category, well, the leaders coming in here very much had control of the category. The top 8 cars potentially, mathematically at least, if nobody else showed up in some cases, could have won in LMP. It was a little more cut and dried. The advantage coming in for the 71 Team Redline BMW was enough that they didn't have to really worry about finishing well. But Le Mans can be a cruel mistress. A finish was absolutely required. And at one stage, as they said when they had their disconnection, they were out of the points and out of the lead of the title race. R8G with victory here grabbed second. Sim Maranello take third. And Oracle Red Bull, who came in as the closest challengers to Redline, slipped to 4th place ahead of BS competition by 1 single point. And there is, that's just signing your name on the entry form for Le Mans gets you that 1 point. So that was as close as it got. Very tight indeed at the top. But again, congratulations to the 71 team from Redline. They have been very much the front runners through the season and took a big lead into Le Mans. And that gave them enough to just focus on trying to win the race. So there you go. The overall standings in LMP and GTE at the end of the Le Mans Virtual Series.